It ain't nothing like. It ain't nothing like hip hop music. It ain't nothing like. It ain't nothing like.
It ain't nothing like hip hop music.
It ain't nothing like. It ain't nothing like. It ain't nothing like hip.
Yo, here we go, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Check the from the shore to be more show. Coming through strong with that podcast flow. Sunday afternoon to the 3 p.m. slot. Got the Interstate 95 turnpike high. When you tune in, they don't just entertain. They come with the message that presses the brain. Those other podcasts, they seem microscopic. Cause they're the big dogs that drop the hot topics. So short, be more dumb, you just stay ready. For DJ Boom, Shaheem, and Ordemi. Put them together to the treacherous string. From the tri-state area to the DMV. So sit back, relax, get your Sundays on. On after morning, gone before dawn. That positive vibe that we hitting so strong. With this podcast, so you can't go wrong. So, here we go, here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this special edition of From the Shore to Hold Up. Today is From the Shore to From the Shore. And why is that? Why is that, Boom?
Because we sitting in the building together. Look at us making it do what it do and it need to be done. Live here in Asbury Park, making it do what it do.
That's right. On this beautiful Sunday morning, we hope everybody out there is enjoying this morning. We're glad you tuned in for the special edition of From the Shore, cause we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite music, hip hop music.
That's how it's going down. Hey, Auntie.
Hello, darlings.
How you doing today, on Debbie?
I'm happy.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy too, because this is one of my favorite topics.
Well, y'all should have told me I needed a little hip hop thing to wear, like Shaheem.
Nah, you look fine, and it's gonna be a great show. There's a lot to cover, so people, for this one, there is no way to fit in 50 years of hip hop music and culture into a 1 hour show. No. But Boom and I and OW are going to do our best to get as much as we can in the time that we have. We're going to cover a lot. I mean, what's your favorite MC? What's your favorite song? Who's your favorite group? We're going to talk about the East Coast, West Coast thing. We're going to get into all of it, the history from the beginning to now. And while we're doing that, we want you all out there listening, tuning in to comment, and reach out to us, and let us know who were your favorites, your favorite songs, your favorite MCs, your favorite female MC, anything about hip hop. We're going to talk about the clothes and the fashion. We're going to talk about the dances, all that. And if you're around my age, I'm even going to touch on when there was no hip hop, right? Right? I mean, if you're around as long as I have been, then you can remember the time when there was no hip hop. And so you got
I can remember.
Yeah, right? You got to see the whole evolution of it all and watch how it took over the world, right, Boom?
Well, yeah. They said it wasn't going to last. And here it is 50 years later, making it do what it do. And they still
that's
going
powerful.
strong. They definitely still going strong. They try to act like, I don't know. It's different. It's different now, but it's still hip hop.
No,
nonetheless.
It's different. Every generation put their own stamp on it. This one's no different. The kids are putting their stamp on it, and it's good. It's good. Go ahead, on Debbie. I'm sorry.
No, you're not sorry. But whenever I'm teaching something, well, let's say somebody is looking at this show 100 years from now, and
Right.
things have really changed, and we're talking about hip hop. Can we define hip hop music?
Absolutely.
Well, I looked it up. If you want to see what I found,
Sure. I'm
so
interested.
here's what I found. Hip hop is a genre of music most often characterized by a strong rhythmic beat and a rapping vocal track. And then it originated in the 70s. So that's enough. I just wanted to
Right.
Listen, that's an important nugget that needs to be put out there. Folks need to know what hip hop is. So, like you said, 100 years from now, this podcast comes up, people see it. What hip hop is, you know what I mean? So that's very important. I love it. You just taught me something.
Yeah, I mean,
Believe
that's
it
a
or not.
decent definition. There's a lot to it. In the beginnings, I believe people will accredit it to the 70s and some of the greats. Like people will tell you, some of the founding fathers are like the one and only Cool Herc, who is known to ride around the streets of our Bronx, playing breaks songs back to back through big speakers and things like that. It was his thing. You hear people credit African Bambaataa as being one of the founding fathers, and of course, the one and only Grandmaster Flash.
that's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
Don't
Yeah.
push me, cause I'm Coach
The
That's
message,
enough. Yeah.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, one of the founding fathers of hip hop. And recently, I've seen some of the younger artists out there now come out, and I don't want to say disrespect, but maybe just not give the founding fathers their flowers. I know LL came out at one time and said some words on this very same thing. The young people should never forget that they wouldn't be in the position that they are and making the money that they're getting without those people who came before them.
Right.
Because there was a time where there was no hip hop. So somebody had to actually start this whole thing. Somebody had to be the first to be on the radio. First had to be somebody to be the first to sell that first million records and reach a larger audience.
It all had to be first. They had to be first with everything. So they definitely need to start paying homage and showing love to their past, as we spoke last week about Black history. You know what I mean? It's the same pretense. We need to show love and pay homage to how we got here. Point blank, period. 50 years later, with a genre that they said wouldn't last a year.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are 50 of those years later.
Yeah, when hip hop first started out, you would hear things like, oh, that's ghetto music or street music or things like that, because that's where it was born, in the hood, per se. And so that's what people used to say, oh, it's ghetto music. It'll never be more than that. And lo and behold, here we are 50 years later, and I would say hip hop is probably one of the dominating genres of music
Absolutely.
all over the world.
Hands down. You're reaching other cultures to emulate and do the same thing, but do it in their own way. Absolutely. It's almost like that clip I showed with Cedric the Entertainer, how we influence every facet of what's going on in this world.
Absolutely, from the music to the dress to the dancing, of course. Even people to the vocabulary that people use these days. A lot of them words were brought out of slang that we created from the streets.
Absolutely.
Even the very word hip hop.
Right. I don't even know. That's funny. I wonder why they call it hip hop.
I did.
I know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because oh my God, one of the artists was emulating the March of Soldiers in response to a friend of his going into the army, and so he described it as hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, and that's why they called it. If you want, I can look up and find out who it was, but that's why they called it hip hop.
Wow,
Because
that's
I think he
interesting.
was making a derogatory comment about his friend joining all of those people who were headed in the same direction. Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop.
Nice.
I did my homework.
Nice. I love it.
I had to.
You teaching me. You definitely teaching me.
Now, see, even we're gonna learn some things today. Before I dive totally into it, because it's a lot. There's a lot of people we're gonna talk about. I want to show you. I just want to reach back to last week on our show on Black History real fast. It was a great show. For those who missed it, you can go back and watch it. We're available on all streaming platforms. You can see us anywhere. So go back and check it out. It was a real good show. And I also want to acknowledge on that topic real fast. The Colonel Paris Davis, an African-American man who served in Vietnam, a black man who served in Vietnam, and was a colonel, just received 60 years later his Medal of Honor finally, after 60 years, from President Biden. Now, I'm just going to give you a story briefly. Colonel Paris was a colonel of a troop of men, and was ambushed by the Vietnam. And even though he was wounded and shot himself, managed to save several of his own soldiers. Now, that being said, his superiors put in for him to receive the Medal of Honor not just once, but twice. And the military both times claimed that his paperwork was lost. Both times. And so he finally received his long overdue Medal of Honor. And so I want to congratulate Colonel Paris Davis on making us proud. It was a real touching moment. I mean, it choked me up. It choked me up. Especially how modest the colonel was about receiving it so many years later. You know, he didn't take it with a grain of salt. You know, he was just very proud of his service to his country. So thanks again to Colonel Paris Davis. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. All right. Hip hop. Back to the music. Now, like I said, it started with Kool Herc, Bam, and Flash.
So who would you say was the first one to do it? Who would you say was the first one to do it?
Well, here's the thing. Who do you want to say was the first to start making the beats, or who would you want to say was the first to really get on the mic and go at it? Now, the ones who started making the beats, break beats, obviously was Flash, Bambaataa, and Herc and them. But some of the early MCs was like Curtis Blow was an early MC. Of course, the members of the Sugar Hill Gang and a few others who actually picked up the mic and started getting on. Now, how that came about is as Flash, because I heard him tell the story a couple days ago, said he would make the break beats on these parties, you know, have the beats going back to back, and would hand the mic to different people to keep the crowd going while the beat was going.
Right.
And so that's how MCing came to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's different aspects. There's those models on the wheels of steels on the turntables, keeping the party rocking and getting the beat going. And then it's those like me who grab the microphone and keep the crowd entertained while the DJ's doing his thing.
And if you don't know, MC stands for Master of Ceremony.
The Master of Ceremony. There you go. Y'all learning a lot today. Y'all gonna learn a lot. Y'all finna learn today.
You must learn.
You must learn. That's right. The Master of Ceremony. And they would just get on, you know, and just to keep the crowd going. Hip, hop, the hip it to the hip, and so on and so forth.
And the rest is FLY.
All right.
By the code of the doctor of the mix. These reasons I'll tell you.
Now, to all you youngins out there, that song right there, Rapper's Delight, that's the name of it, by the Sugar Hill Gang, was the first one to hit the national airwaves. That was the first one that would actually get played on the radio everywhere. And this was what? I'm gonna say 79, boom?
Yeah, I think somewhere around that time.
I believe it was 79. And that song hit the airwaves. And of course, we in the neighborhoods all rocking, but no one knew at that time that it was going to take over the world.
The phenomenon it will become.
The phenomenon, that's a good way of putting it, that it is now. Now, in those early days, since we lived it, and we know, early rap music actually sounded more like disco music. You know, they would rap to break beats from songs that were popular dance songs at that time, like "Good Time," don't. That's and that's how MCs would sound back then, more like disco. But then, early in the 80s, these boys came on the scene and changed hip hop. And what they do, boom. The Run DMC. What they did was they were the first ones to take the heavy dance bass lines out of the music and the ones and everything and rock to a heavy beat. Because at this time, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? The 808 was just being introduced. For those out there who consider yourself hip hop fans and don't know what an 808 is, what's an 808, boom?
Oh, no, you can't ask me that. I don't know.
The 808 is the world-renowned beat machine that you can still hear in music today. Did you know that one, Debbie?
No,
Oh, I thought I saw you raising your hand.
I was raising my hand. Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Okay, no, the 808, and like I said, you can still hear it in today's music, was the premier drum machine of all MCs and responsible for a lot of the bass beats that you hear in hip-hop songs throughout its history. But Run DMC was one of the first to rock to the heavy hip-hop beat.
Walk this way, talk this way, just give me a
The first one dared to challenge MTV and incorporate hip hop with rock and roll, and they were the first rappers on MTV.
Very
Break
true.
down them doors.
Very true. And this is at a time where MTV still wasn't warm when it came to our people being on their network.
Right.
They still weren't warm to it. But Run DMC was breaking so many barriers and becoming so popular, not just in black homes, but white homes, that MTV had no choice but to pay attention.
It made this song.
Stop playing with the balls in school with your feet flying up in the air. Singing that
That was it. It took off. Alice Cooper, as you know, is a rock and roll person. You know, that's why you hear that random the guitars and all that. And so Run DMC are now inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of that song.
This particular song, this is Aerosmith. Yeah. But they are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, they are. What other MCs on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I think they just did Grandmaster Flash.
I think so.
How can they not? How can they? I want to give Grandmaster Flash, Cool Herc, everybody their flowers, man, for starting all of this. This is a billion-dollar industry that so many of us eat off of today. But it wasn't all guys. In those early years, some of the first females, they weren't necessarily soloists, but they were parts of groups. I'm trying to catch. I don't see it. I had a picture of one of those early groups called the Funky Four Plus One More. And in that group was one of the first female MCs. What was her name again?
Sharon
Green. I believe it was Sharon Green. And she was actually one of the female MC. And of course not the only one. I mean, some of us can also remember some of those early female MCs like MC Light and Sweet Tea, who were also some of the first females. Right there.
Kick this one here for me and my DJ.
And you can still see like doing her thing to this day. You know, she's not rapping, of course, but she is the voice behind almost every other, and the one and only Sweet Tea. You know,
Jazzy Joyce.
oh, that's yeah. Listen, and I mean, she don't get her flowers the way she should. You know, we can't forget about the females. They were there too. You know, doing their thing and help grow this industry that we love so much today.
I got the rhymes to keep your body
For those tuning in, listen, we want to hear your opinions. We want to hear your favorite rap words, all of that. So comment, let us know.
That almost sound like Fight the Power.
And do.
That's funny.
I do. Well, that's something we can talk about too, because a lot of hip hop songs, especially in those early years, rely on sampling. You know?
You guys need to adjust your mics again because you're reverbing off of each other. You know the reverb? I think if you turn your mic, it might help.
And for those who don't know what sampling is, that's when you take a part of a song, an older song, whatever, use that part and run it over and over to a hip hop beat. You know, and that's sample. One of the most. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
You're not sorry. I'm just butting in. I offered to sit out this show with my, born in the 50s self. But what I noticed listening to this music is that it has something in common with African drums, in that African drums, the beat, matched a heartbeat, which automatically made you want to move. So when I first heard hip hop, I was like, oh my God, this is awful, this stuff, these young people. And then one day I'm at a party and they're playing hip hop and I'm like, because the beats move you. They move your body. They move you, not just emotionally, they move your body because of the heartbeat.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. 100%. It's that heavy beat that drives the music. And when people started using sampling parts of songs, there was one artist that was sampled more than others. And I mean way more. You know who that is, Boom? I already know you know.
Is that the Paid in Full. What is it? Don't Look Any Further.
Everybody sampled this particular artist. The most sampled artist of all time,
James Brown.
James Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
James Brown, folks. The most sampled artist of all time. You can hear bits of his music throughout hip hop history, throughout his old and new. Old and new. So shout out to the Godfather himself, James Brown, for his contribution to hip hop music. Where would we be without the founding fathers, right?
And who's first or who last?
Oh, let's talk about these guys.
Baby.
Let's talk about these guys. Let me
So
see.
what y'all gonna do with this?
Wait, no, hold up.
You got to be focused.
These guys right here.
And who start? I don't care what
With
you
those
do.
who don't know.
The big finish before the music.
Are the Juice Crew.
Listen close.
We used to dominate the mid to late 80s.
Just the way I came.
And here's a picture of them. But what I noticed in this picture who I don't see present is Roxanne Shante. And so I'm going to shout her out.
Yeah, I played her song
Because she was part of the Juice Crew. But some of my favorites, Bismarck, rest in peace. Part of the Juice Crew, Cool G Rap, Master Ace, Craig G, and the Big Daddy Kane.
Of course. What?
The Big Daddy Kane. Ooh, boy. I'll never forget when he came out. What was that? I'm going to say 86, 87.
The Wrath of Cain.
The Wrath of Cain drop. Raw. That song, Raw. Here I Am. R.A.W. Boy. Him and LL, for me, was the ones. And I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. The Big Daddy Kane. Let me put that Juice Crew back up. And you see him standing around in the back, around volleyball, who produced a lot of Juice Crew songs. Made a lot of these pieces that you rock to this day. Shout out to Marley Moore.
R.A.W. Terrorist, here to bring trouble to phony MCs. I move on and seize, I just conquer and solve another rapper with ease. Cause I'm at the apex, another bar below. Nothing but a
If that don't get you going, nothing will.
Making MCs run, so don't try to step through me.
Cause I ain't the one.
I believe rappers just like Tylenol, and they know it. So I don't see why you all try to front, perpetrating a stunt when you know that I smoke you up like a blunt. I'm genuine like Gucci, raw like sushi. The stage of rage is what rap did to me to make me want to create.
So in that era, there was another rapper that I used to love. One of my favorites. So everybody, please comment, tune in, comment, because we want to know who your favorites were. But one of my favorites, Rakim. Eric B. and Rakim. Oh man. Well, I would say they kind of changed music in a way too. When they dropped. There are just certain artists that make you pay attention to what they're saying. A lot of times you hear about songs, you know the beat, you rock into it, but then there's other artists that make you pay attention to what they're saying. And for me, Rakim was one of them. How about you, Ian?
That's one of my favorites. Artist of all time, for me.
Yeah.
He almost had the same smooth effect as Big Daddy Kane. They both was real smooth with how they rap.
Real smooth with it.
Solo, get in the flow, and you can picture like a photo. Music makes mellow,
Oh,
maintains and
now I want to get my gangster on.
Days and days of time displays it engraved with the text lips. I can take a phrase that's rarely heard, flip it. Now it's a daily word.
Now,
I can get ill at it.
if we gonna talk about gangsters, though,
Rock him
if we
up,
gonna talk about gangsters,
self-esteem make me super superb.
I can't leave it all
Still I fade
on the East Coast.
I wasn't supposed to break. I was supposed
I
to
can't
wait.
do that.
Let's motivate. I will receive.
If you want to talk about gangsters, we're gonna have to talk about one of the most infamous hip-hop groups of all time.
Frozen, stiff as if
And that would be
through my brain as
the
the rhyme is chosen. So follow me.
NWA.
Yo, man, a lot of brothers out there flaking and perpetrating, but scared to
The
kick reality.
NWA. And for those who don't know what NWA A
What you want me to do?
stands for my
I'm expressing with my full capabilities. And never living in correctional facilities. You still don't agree with how I do this. I'm dropping flavor, my behavior is hereditary. But my technique.
So shout out to NWA, Ice Cube. Of course, you know what Ice Cube is doing when he gets done. Friday movie, basketball league and everything. He's still out here doing his thing. Shout out to Dr. Dre.
You know what? I won't hesitate to just one or two. So don't try to sing this. Some drop science. But I'm dropping English, even if yellow makes it a cappella. I still express, yo, I don't smoke weed or sex. That's gonna give a brother brain damage. Turn the microphone manage. Never for making a sucker in you equal. So don't be another sequel.
And I would also shout out Eazy-E, who passed away a few years ago. Well, no, 90s, right? Yeah. Passed away quite a while ago.
I noticed on the bottom of the cover, it says explicit lyrics. And that is one of the things that the older generation took exception to. Could you enlighten us why it was important? Or was it just gratuitous? Like, oh, we're just gonna curse, or was there a message in the explicit language that made it essential for it to be there?
That's a great question. Boom, you want to talk on that?
Wait a minute. I was reading the comments. What was
No, I got something to say on it. No doubt. Because if people pay attention, you heard me say that earlier. With hip hop, it was more of a dance. It was more of the disco beats and everything, and so it was easy to get on the radio, easier, because in those days you couldn't curse or say certain things on the radio. Throughout the 80s, same thing. You had to be careful about what you said if you wanted to get on the radio, even if you wanted to get in the stores, it was tough. But around that time, when NWA was coming out and some of the harder groups, the only way they could really get this stuff out at this time, because the government had changed, was they had to put this explicit language, warning labels,
right,
on their albums now.
So that's when change started in hip hop for me. It started changing because it was getting more and more. They don't want you to do this. They don't want you to do that, and they felt like they wanted to step up and say, "We're gonna do what we want to do," and went through a whole court battle and all that good stuff, and ended up where they made it put explicit language labels and stuff on that stuff now.
And NWA, they purposely pushed the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
They did it on purpose.
What's the purpose? What's the purpose?
I think
for change in music,
for change
in music, to be able to say so the song that I played.
Yo, man, there's a lot of brothers out there flaking and perpetrating, but
how I do this, I get straight and meditate like a Buddhist. I'm dropping flavor, my behavior is hereditary. But my technique is very necessary. Blame it on Ice Cube, because he said it gets funky when you got a subject in a predicate.
We totally missed what you said, Sekou. We totally missed what you said because of the music that was over you.
So
Can
this
you say
is
that?
what that song that I just played is called "Express Yourself." The whole point of doing what they were doing is because they wanted to express themselves, and what they felt like is that they were being held back because they want to use explicit language and this, that, and the third, and it's influencing the younger generation or young people to start being more disrespectful, whatever the case may be. But they would just express themselves, and that's what they fought for.
That thing, express yourself.
You know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know what it brings up for me? It's sort of like it's a evolution of the Underground Railroad. That in Harriet Tubman's and others' day, when they were going in they were doing secret, and they had codes, so that people would know where a safe house was, you know, where they could go if they were escaping to freedom. So, and freedom is a primary self-expression. And in hip hop, in the explicit language, it's almost like it's underground and it's coded and it's not for everybody. You know, they're not trying to say, come on, world. They're saying, I'm talking to these people over here.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
think that might have been, you know, I think that's the other side of freedom of expression, who your audience is.
yeah. I got it from it. They wanted to talk about what was going on in their neighborhoods at the time, the gang violence, the shootings, the police abuse by the LA police at that time. They wanted to talk about it and they wanted to express these things in their words. And they didn't want someone
To be
to
censored while they're trying to express themselves.
exactly. They wanted to censor their music when they weren't doing this to rock and roll bands and stuff like that. You know, they weren't doing no censors on their music. But when we want to tell our story the way that we're living it in these neighborhoods, you want to try and twist our arms and control what we're saying. And I think that was their reason for the rebellion. But not just them, other groups at the time too.
Yeah. So the Two Live Crew
Ah, shout out to the Two Live
was
Crew. I
another one
forgot about them.
that pushed that envelope. They pushed the envelope
Oh,
in a sexual way, being explicit, using vulgar language,
talk.
describing your private parts, blah blah blah. I'm trying to be clean on the show, which I really don't have to, but
And the United States government went after them. They dragged them into court, federal charges, all kinds of stuff.
yep.
They really tried to shut that man down. And he would go to these courts. Did it reach the Supreme Court? I think it might have.
They did.
And he won.
And he won. Absolutely.
And
And
he
for
won.
y'all who don't know, look up Two Live Crew, watch their videos, because that's where y'all got twerking from.
That's because what?
That's where they got twerking from.
Oh, twerking. Well, as a woman, I offer that. I think it started to identify women as sexual and only sexual. I mean, we're sexual, no doubt about it. But I think it did bring up a level of disrespect for women, and it showed that the sex was for the pleasure of the men, not for the pleasure of the women. So you would look at these women twerking, for example, and my sense of it is that the women weren't necessarily getting the pleasure. It was for men, and we were becoming defined by our anatomy, and not our heart anatomy, not our head anatomy. And I think that also coincided with a disrespect for women.
I can see that side of it, but I can also see the other side of it is because women are still twerking to this day. And I'm at this point, like you, Boone, they like it.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah,
like
just like a lot of Black people participate in their own put down. So just because women are doing it doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy. I mean, you know, I love twerking. I think they were twerking at
you love twerking.
Sekou's wedding. I mean, I like to see it because it's not just twerking to me, it's actually dance, and it's actually African,
I
and
was
it's
about to say that.
modeling the ways that women danced in order to be able to deliver their children. So the way that we moved our hips and our stomachs and our butts was actually good for our health. It just got minimized to sexuality, and that's what I observed. But when I was at Sekou's wedding, I was cheering the women on because I also see sexual freedom as power.
Okay, I can see both sides of the argument,
I'm
but
loving it.
not,
I'm loving it. No, I'm just loving what she just said.
but nonetheless, it is part of hip hop. It is what it is. I can understand why some women might feel it's degrading and all that. Some of the first rappers, when I talked about some of the first MCs to pick up a mic and rap, they weren't all guys. I mean, before there was the MC Lights and the Sweet Teas, so on and so forth. Some of the first girls to ever rap were white, believe it or not. And there's a debate between who it was. Some might say that Tina Marie was one of the first females to ever rap on a song. That's right, people. This is true. If you don't believe me, you go back and you listen to the song that's playing right now. Right, Boo?
Absolutely.
Things you just don't know.
What's happening? I'm Trey Boot Lady T. I've heard a boatload of other ladies rap, but they ain't got nothing on me.
Made a lot of big
I'm
songs.
Mr. 5'1", 100 pounds of foot. I like sophisticated funk. I live on Don Perignon, heavy off in the
Some people would say that she was actually one of the first females. You know, but at that same time, and I think this year was probably 1979.
1980. For both
1980, okay, the year after. 1980. And there was another female, again, white female, who was also known to be one of the first females to rap on the song. And her name was Blondie. Blondie, that's right. You can go back and hear this. And you will find out that white people were involved with rapping and rap music long before you think. It didn't just start with Eminem. It didn't just start with Eminem. You feel what I'm saying? This is all this matters. What you get right now. I ain't going back to my time.
That's the sample as well.
One of the first big groups in hip hop that were white. And this group used to form with Run DMC in the 80s, all of it, and they had a long career. They had a very long career. And that was the Beastie Boys. These boys were crazy. When they first stopped. But their music, and you can hear some of their songs at parties to this day.
Brass monkey, chunky, that funky monkey. Brass, got it, that's what it means.
But MTA,
Here's how you feel. Would you let it lay down? You're right, lay up. Tilt your head back, let's finish the count.
yeah, as time marches on, we're starting to lose a lot of the early giants of hip hop. While we're talking about that, I also want to mention the passing of Dave, Too Boy the Dub, of the 90s hip hop group De La Soul, who also made a mark and changed hip hop. This was the birth of the flower age, or whatever. What was the daisy age?
The Daisy Age.
The daisy age. De La Soul. And recognize their contribution.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Tell me, mirror, what is wrong? Can it be my daylight clothes or is it just my daylight song? What I do,
I think you were plugged two. The other guy was plugged one.
to be in daylight. It's just me, myself, and I.
And in that song is a sample for those.
Right.
I think Parliament Funkadelic
Mhm.
sampling, boy, that was big. And hip hop lives on.
You muted yourself.
Is Tupac considered hip hop? So you guys may be
That's
going through some kind of order. I hope I'm not jumping the gun. But
No,
when I heard De La Soul, it reminded me of rap as profound and needed message music. Oh, he's so fine. It reminded me of, you know, the
not you
importance
too.
of, okay, so that came through. It reminded,
Well appreciated.
Rest in
and
peace.
so what I want to share is that I was teaching a class, and one of my students said, like Tupac says, "What a vicious web we weave when we practice to deceive." I said, "Who say that?"
Who
He
said
said,
that?
"Tupac." And I heard it, but the Shakespeare wrote that. And I loved it. What didn't matter to me whether it was started, whether Shakespeare penned it or Moms Mabley. What I loved was that he got the message. And I thought I was like, right on. You got that right. Go ahead, Tupac. You throwing down wisdom.
you want to bring out guest in now?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to come back. We got a guest for you guys today. He's been on the show before, and on our last hip hop show, and one before that. Everybody knows SJ Dub. Welcome back, sir. What's up, Dub?
Oh, what's good with you? How you?
I'm good as usual. Here with my co-host Boom and Aunt Debbie, and we wanted to reach out to you because I know not only do you love hip hop, but you got your own stuff, and you got something out right now.
Yes. Just dropped my new single, the Mad for joint.
What is it again, Boom? I mean, not Boom. I'm sorry, Dub.
It's all good.
Huh?
What's the name of it
Can
again?
you speak up or get closer to the mic, please? I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
A little better. Hmm.
A little better?
And we can see your handsome face better. So I like that.
Thank you.
What's the name of the song again, Dub?
It's called Mad 4 on all
It-
streaming platforms.
It's on YouTube, right?
It is on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Yes, it is on YouTube.
SJ Dub, Aunt Debbie, MC Shaheem. I want to introduce y'all to the one and only DJ Cole, part of the squad. What's up, Cole?
Hey, what up, y'all?
Hey, Cole.
Hey.
This is the young lady that DJ'd my wedding. So, turned down for what?
How you doing?
One of the hottest DJs in the DMV. And I wanted to bring her on the show as a DJ that plays hip hop to give her perspective on hip hop of then and now.
Give me a second, y'all. Trying to connect my Bluetooth
Yeah, that's okay. Well, Dub,
with
to
my
you,
earbuds.
what is your perspective on hip hop then and now?
Hip hop. I think it's just like all about like elevation. I feel like.
So you feel the music's headed in the right direction?
Huh?
You feel like the music's headed in the right direction? Like the young people coming up is holding it down?
I feel it could be more like it could come with more of a better message. I feel like but far as hip hop, it's still hip hop a lot. Hip hop is still alive. I'm talking about from how it started to now. I just feel like the new era it's just turning over to a new era of music. And they want to put the light more on that type of music than the actual hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they going like the kids. I
Commercial.
think it's more to attract the kids, while a lot of the new era of music is getting played more on radio stations and in the clubs. than like actual hip hop sound.
So basically, you feel, and I'm hearing this a lot, like hip hop is starting to get more commercial and move away from its beginnings in the streets.
Yeah, yeah.
I can respect that argument, but when we talk about hip hop pertaining to the streets and keeping, keeping that alive, you hear a lot of violence in the music.
And so that's what I meant for as like the message of
Right.
music these days is I don't know why it's more focused on that type of music, but it is for some reason. But I feel like I said, I just feel like they're adapting more to like the younger crowd, and not for nothing, in a lot of cities like far as where we come from, Asbury Park, things of that nature, is full of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what keep the traction going, far as numbers and views and stuff like that. So this is what, like I said, this is what's playing all day. This is what the kids are listening to all day. So I feel like it's more of a numbers game than an actual great body of work.
I feel like hip hop is now gearing more towards being on YouTube and TikTok than being in the mainstream.
Fair enough.
Because that's like what you said. There's a whole lot more going on in the hood, whatever you want to call it, than just killing. That will keep your message going if you had a message behind it. The only thing these folks are talking about is drugs, sex, and violence. That's it. Like I don't hear none of it makes me feel good when I listen to it. I got a handful that I rock to a little bit, but for the most part, none of it has a feel good thing to it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the love is lost in the music. I feel like they just making stuff just to be making it, and that's it.
Okay, but I can accept that. But let me ask you guys this: is it because the music is getting more violent, or is it because our neighborhoods are getting more violent?
I don't think it's
and these
more
kids
violent.
are just talking about what they see every day.
Yeah, I don't think it's more violent. I think it's just as violent as it's always been, depending on where you live in whatever part of the hood you live in. It's not getting more violent. I think social media being introduced to the world is introducing more of that culture to people, and they think this is what they need to do, or this is what's going to make them look good doing it. And it really doesn't. You know what I mean? If you want a DJ like me to play your music, you got to give me a little bit more substance. I can't just be going out to any old place playing any old thing because you gave it to me and because you think it's hard. You know what I mean? It's got to be something for everybody, and that's what's lost to me.
Yeah, but then let's talk about hip hop. Like I said, early music was more disco, party style, and then I would say in the 80s, you would see two different styles. You would see that when they started with the heavy beat, like Run DMC's music and everything. You would also see people with a message, like the Public Enemy #1s, like the guy that you see before you right now, the Blast Master KRS-One, who would try to enlighten with his music and thing. And then as you move more to the 90s, you see the music starting to get a little darker now with NWA. And not just them, but groups like the Wu-Tang Clan and so on and so forth. Even then, I wouldn't hear things like guns mentioned in his music as much. Not that he wouldn't mention it, but not as much as I can hear it now. So again, is it because the music's getting darker, or are our neighborhoods just getting more and more violent?
What you got to say, Cole? Welcome back, by the way.
Welcome.
Hey, so I don't think hip hop is the same as it was back in the day. That's for instance, let's say, man, you can't compare something like Outkast to like Lil Baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just two different vibes. I mean, like you said, we got the Wu Tang Clan. We got who else? What's Tribe Called Quest? We got the oh man, so many. Talib, like all of them. Like, you know, it's lyricists. Like lyricists. Like we don't have no. To me, I don't think we have any like lyricists to that extent now.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about like, you know, like the Lil Babies and the Lil Waynes and stuff like that, it's different types. It's different types of lyricists. So I would say just like different types of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like we got this generation, we got, like you were saying, we got the 80s, we had the 90s. You know what I mean? Like those type of people that we have now, I guess they fit with this generation. They don't fit like what, you know, like the older people like looking for. You know what I mean? So.
Do you find at your parties that you have more old heads who need to grow up? I said that on purpose. Wanting to hear the little kid music of today compared to wanting to listen to music?
I mean, so you know, with my parties, I like to like vibe and I like to go back to that era because that's what people want to. Actually, that's what people want to hear. A lot of DJs they don't want to play it because they think they're supposed to play the newer music and stuff like that, but you really don't. Like they want to hear that old music. They want to hear that old school music, that old school hip hop, R&B and stuff like that. They don't really. They want to vibe. That's it. They want to vibe. They don't really be into like the newer stuff now. To be honest, only the younger crowd. The older people, like 40 and over, even 35 and older, they don't want to hear that crap. The new school.
Well, like I was saying, you know, every generation put their own stamp on the music. I can't expect somebody who was listening to the Sugar Hill Gang to be into any of the new artists that are out right now. And I hear what you're saying because a lot of the music does feel empty, doesn't have a message like the earlier artists to try to deliver through their music. But I don't think that it pertains to everybody. I think somebody like Kanye, who's a phenomenal writer, who will write across the board, everything from something that you might hear off the streets to something that you might hear in a club. But I also think somebody, you know, like my man here, my man Drake, he also writes across the board. I've heard him do everything from strong hip hop to love songs. So I don't want to take away from the young people. I get it. There's certain stuff that when it come on the radio right now, I will shut it off.
But you know what? What you're doing, cuz, is you're talking about old heads making music for young people. Because that's what they are. That's what Kanye is. That's what Jay-Z is.
You consider them old heads?
Absolutely. You're over 40. You're making music for 15, 16-year-olds.
Drake's not over 40.
The rest of them are. He damn close to it if he ain't. But you making music for teens, though. You know, you're not making music in your age range. So I don't know if I would call them. What I call new school is the Lil Uzis and those little kids. You know what I mean? Because those are the ones making the music. Kanye is an old head. Jay-Z is an old head. Diddy is an old head. You know what I mean? So they might make a song that we'll like or that the young people will party to. But the Lil Uzis and the Rest of Soul, the Pop Smokes, and all these other people they're in that age range of what I would consider the new artists, you know, new rap.
Yeah, a lot of older people are trying to stay relevant and they want to make the money.
Right.
So, because this is an industry where people, make money, and for many people, that's really what it's about.
Well, it's
and
a
they
business.
don't want to. It's a business, yeah, and they don't want to, be done. They're not ready for rocking chairs. So maybe they need to reinvent themselves for themselves rather than try to stay, so relevant to a younger generation. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, the younger people, they're gonna write about what they know, their generation. They're not writing for me. And I get that. So I don't want to take away anything from them. They're not writing for me, so I'm not supposed to get it. But I do love hip hop, so some of it I do like. Some of these beats are rocking. Let's face it. Let's not take away from them. They just doing it in their way. We all had our contributions to it, and we continue. Like you, Cole, like you, SJ Dub, who I think is one of the hardest grinding MCs out. I watched Dub throughout the years grind, and continue to hit him with good music. I'm waiting for him to finally get his flowers. The new song is hot. It's fire. I really like it. And I encourage people to go out there, check it out, listen to it, go get it.
Thanks a lot, Unc. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm always support the independent artists because I don't think people really understand how hard it is to be an independent artist. The money is one part of it, but just to have the courage to put your music out there to be judged by everybody takes a lot of courage in itself, because you don't know what the feedback you'll get. So I give a lot of credit to the independent artists, you, SJ, and to Cole, and to all of us out there trying to get out there and make our contribution to this thing.
We need to do what it do and it need to be done.
DJ Boom out here rocking the parties, keeping us moving. It's all hip hop. It's all hip hop, and I don't want to get away from the fashion either, because right now we Black people, we have the whole world dressing like us. The whole world is dressing like us, from the sneakers to our style, the clothes to the hair, everything.
I just wish these artists would pull their pants up so people could start pulling their pants up.
That's a whole conversation. Yeah, I never got that. I don't think in my younger days that we did that.
We didn't do that.
That's jail culture. The pants coming down is jail culture, because when they went to jail, they took their belts. And they took their laces from the sneakers. And so that's what started. So the people coming out of jail were like, yo, this is how I dress. Maybe they didn't say, yo, better than I not. Yo, that's how I dress. So then it gets filtered into our culture, and then we think it's just a style, and we don't realize we're mimicking a jail culture here. It's not hip hop. It's jail. And I do have I have one message for the young people who have jeans with their knees out. Love the style, great for the summer, but y'all gonna have arthritis if you wear that stuff in the winter. So put some tights under there. Done.
I just want people to pull their pants up, please. Or I'm gonna say this. I don't like the style, but if you're going to do it, at least have the decency to have on clean underwear. Let's say that.
Yeah, but if the women didn't, if the women who identify as heteros didn't screw those guys with their pants down, them pants would be coming up. So so I put it on the women. We can educate the culture by saying, yo, bro, I don't do men with their pants low. Oh my God, we could put that in a rap.
That sounds like a song, SJ.
Yeah.
Listen, it's an interesting show. It's a great topic. We got to do a part 2. Definitely do a part 2. There's so much to go over. There's no way we can fit it into 1 hour, and of course we did go over. But we're gonna start closing out the show. I want to thank our guests first, right?
Absolutely.
I want to thank SJ Dub. Go get the song. What's it again?
Single called Mad 4.
Mad 4. Now here, Mad 4. Make sure y'all go check that out. Go get it. Go see it on YouTube. Did you shoot the video?
No, No, that's actually next. We looking to do that in like
Okay.
2 weeks. Yes,
Okay.
so-
And I want to thank DJ Cole for coming through and blessing us.
What up, y'all?
What you got going
Thanks
on,
for-
Cole?
I got too much stuff going on. Busy, man. But listen, y'all can follow me on Instagram at DJCo_SYL. So that's DJCO_SYL. And check me out, man. Got a lot going on right now.
There you go. Go check her. One of the hardest DJs in the business.
She definitely is. Most definitely.
We want to thank y'all for coming on this show. We're going to do a part 2 for sure. So we're going to get some more people on. But thank you guys for showing up.
No problem. Y'all also can follow me on all platforms at Instagram at s.j.dub on Instagram and sjdub on all platforms.
There it is. And again, that song is fire. What you mad for? Go get it, y'all. Show my man some love and support the cause.
I'm gonna go get it.
All right, we're gonna start closing out the show. My man DJ Boom, he's got to get all the way up to Boston today, so he got to hit the road.
Yeah, gotta hit the road.
Where you gonna be at?
I will be in Boston.
Yeah, in Boston.
I'm doing a gig for Citizens Bank at the Westin Waterfront Hotel Monday and Tuesday. So I'm heading up there to make sure that jumps off the way it should jump off, and then I'm heading back from Boston straight to work on Tuesday, downtown Boston Street in Baltimore.
Wow.
Right. And then I'm Wednesday night back at Loafers, Thursday night the Olive Branch, and then Saturday night Olive Branch as well. So I'm gonna be rolling.
The man does it all. What can I tell you? So y'all make sure y'all go check Boom out. If you're up in the Boston area, make sure you stop by and check him out. You know he's gonna be live at the party, so you want to be there for sure.
I love this people.
Yeah, right.
You know what I think about when I hear this? I think about them making this. You know how they think, you could be kind of like, fire! I would have been like, yo, that beat is sick. I don't even rap, but I be wanting to rap on this joint.
I know the feeling. I do rap, and I do love to get on the mic at a party and do my thing. So I definitely get it. What you got going on this week, on Debbie?
I'm in the studio making art, and I'm going to be teaching an astrology class that will be starting on Tuesday, March 28th, 7 weeks.
Okay.
And I'm on Instagram, but I kind of don't remember what my app. I think it's Deborah. Just look up Deborah Singletary on Instagram and Facebook.
Or they can reach you at Vision Carriers.
I don't think it's on Vision. Oh, yeah, my email. visioncarriers@aol.com. And anyone who has AOL in their email address, you know they old. Duh.
But you can still reach out to her if you want astrology readings and things like that. And I encourage everybody to go get that done. As far as me, you already know what I got going on. Go get my hot new singles, Weightless, and it's on tonight. I want to thank you, Debbie, for going to do that. I appreciate the love so much, and I appreciate your support so much. Thank you very much. And I want to say to all of you out there, support your guy. Run out there and go get those singles. I know you're going to enjoy the songs, and I'm going to keep hitting you with some new stuff. Also, check me out on my website. You'll find all my links, therealshaheem.com. Redone, totally revised, a brand new website, and I'm sure you guys are going to like it. So find me there, and you can find out what I'm doing.
You know what? I'm pumped up now. I'm about to make me a hip-hop song.
There you go.
Me too.
We're going to do something together.
Listen, you ain't said nothing but a thing. I'm down. I'm down. Ain't like I ain't bust out the skills before. You know what I mean? They was like, oh, you sound real nice rapping.
All right.
Let's do an album. Like, nah, man.
All right.
Y'all going too far now.
Well, look for that in the future, folks. Anyway, we are glad you guys tuned in for this special event. We're going to do a part 2. I promise you there's so much to go over. And if you didn't get in on this one, you can get on the next one. Thanks for sharing your Sunday with us. Once again, we're gonna say goodbye to y'all from the shore to Be More, and we will see you guys next week.
We skipped Be More this week though. We straight on
That's
the
right.
shore to New York
How
City.
about from the shore to Harlem? I mean,
There
like,
you
really,
go.
can I have some play
Absolutely.
from the shore to
From the
Harlem
shore
just
to Harlem.
today?
Just today. The shore to Harlem. That's how I go down.
And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your Sunday. Thanks for tuning in.
Will do.
I gotta give you this the song, Auntie, because we ain't quite get to it. So I gotta give you this a little bit before we get out of here. Oh yeah, come on.
To all you young heads, go see this video. The song is the message. And see what those dudes was wearing.
Sometimes it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like the jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going
Yeah, the
under.
pants is all the way up. How about that?
It might have been back then. It might have been super tight. I don't know.
My brother's doing fast on my mother's TV. Says she watches too much. It's just not healthy. All my children in the daytime,
Enjoy your
Dallas at
Sunday.
night.
We'll see
Can't
you
even
next
see the
week.
game or the Sugar Ray fight. The bill collectors.